My name is Stemmet. I'm racing in MRK Racing Pigeon Club. This is my son next door to me, Stemmet. He's been racing now for his second year in the Western Province, Westelike Postduif Union. I've been racing pigeons since 1991. I had a few good experiences, a few mentors in my life. Big ones like Jolly Pieters, then Willem Basson, and then also Altus Low, who I had the opportunity of flying in a partnership with him for a few years before he passed. And we had some good results there as well in the federated board. It was a good thing for me to test my pigeons also in the federated board. We had an agreement, I breed some pigeons and then he will also breed. And then we raised them together with very, very good results. I have some birds that after he passed, I was lucky to obtain some of them back. 3 of them that is 3-time winners for us that side. And yeah, that is my history with pigeons. At this stage, I'm doing well. I got the best middle distance bird in the club. Then at this stage, after 2 long middle distances, long distance races, I have the best long distance bird in the union. A hen that raced for me in Beaufort West, and also I doubled her up, and she also raced Graaf Reinet, doing also exceptionally well. And the mother of that bird also comes from Altus Low that he raced there, that comes out of our birds together. The birds that is making a big impact in my loft is the Tom Lofts, and then also the Turbo Toms. The Turbo Toms had a huge impact in my loft, and then I had some good results also with the Mugabes. That has also bred us one of those 3 times winner that Altus raced for us there in Cape Town. Also the Christians. We had a Christians cock that I obtained from a friend of mine, Mario Becker, in Pretoria, that raced for me. Then I bred 2 babies out of the cock with a hen from Bartlo Oerlemans. And that specific bird then raced for us there in the federated board as well as the WCPTA. In the WCPTA that year, that bird was the best bird in that union. And she in the same year also raced 7 times that she scored in the federated board. Bred out of her, Altus sent me a baby, and then after going through the babies, because I decided I was also going to fly from this side, I sent the birds to Carnival City, there by Herman at All Flight Lofts. And then at the end of the year, that was the year before last year, in the final of the All Flight, that specific bird flew us a 3rd place in the final of the race. I like sending pigeons to Carnival because, or All Flight as it's known before it was Carnival. I like the way Herman is working with the pigeons. Breeding strategy, if I go to breeding strategy, I'm not so much into pedigrees. Pedigrees, yeah, it's nice to see at the end of the day where the bird comes from and what is in the pedigree and what is in the history of the bird. But when it comes to breeding, I usually put the best to the best. Pigeons that produce in the flying loft, that is the pigeons that will also produce in the stock loft for you. Okay, this hen is a 12560. This was a hen that I bred for Altus here from my lofts, from Mugabe cock by the name of Monty, that I obtained from Pretoria, and paired up with the Chris Marais hen. She's a 3 times winner for us while we were racing in a partnership in the federated board. and also in the WCPTA. So after he passed, I was very lucky to obtain this bird back. And at this stage, babies are doing very well for me. This is hen 1684. I obtained this bird from a sale of Dinukeng Lofts that they had at our club. Nobody wanted to buy this bird, so I was lucky to buy this bird for 50 Rand at the end of the day. What a cheap price and what a bargain. This hen mated up to one of my Victor Christian's cocks that I obtained from Mario. Bred us in the first year that I bred for Altus, a hen 3387. The 3387 was the best bird in the WCPTA, not in the union of the specialist club that we raced in the PAL. Then she is also the grandmother of the bird that got us third in the final of All Flight. I traced this bird because I didn't know where she came from, and then I traced it came from a guy by the name of Mpumalanga, racing there in Limpopo, Mpumalanga. And then I also obtained the brother of this bird, but after Altus's passing, I could not find the brother back, but I luckily have the hen. The training and my feeding program, the way me and Altus met is by saying that I once had for a guy that was asking something on social media. My saying was that when you feed your pigeons and you turn your back on your pigeons, you will never compete top, because if you master the art of feeding, you are 80% there. Then the rest is just up to the pigeon, because feeding plays so big, important role into the performance of the birds, because you must observe your birds when they feed. You will see which ones eat what, and at that stage, and which ones are the ones that finished first. And at the end of the day, that is where the observation comes, and that is the ones where you decide at the end of the day, okay, this is the birds that I would like to raise the weekend. And usually, when you observe well, you fly very well. The juniors in the sport, my son is flying as a junior, but he's flying out of my loft with his own pigeons. So his pigeons get trained the same as my pigeons get trained. The thing is, if you get juniors if the parents doesn't fly pigeons or is not pigeon fanciers, those people have more expenses, and it's not so easily for them to compete on the highest level at the end of the day. The thing for my son, he loves the pigeons a lot, and that's why I decided last year for him to race. He only raced the first young bird races. He was the young bird champion in the union out of the juniors last year, winning 6 races. He again won the junior points on the juniors in the union, currently leading the union champion points for the juniors, and this far has got 14 wins behind his name. So the big thing for me is to boost him at the end of the day. There was one fancier in our club that made a comment the other day, is asking me, when am I going to start clocking in front of my son? So yes, then I also wanted to ask him, when are you starting going to clock in front of him? Because he was winning the club and the town, but where we have 2 clubs with his pigeons. So yeah, he's got good pigeons. He loves them a lot, and I try to encourage him so that he can stay interested in the sport and not just be like one that flies for 1 or 2 seasons and then gets lost in the sport. My advice for fanciers that wants to start with pigeons is go to the club in the town where you are. Go to the club and see at the end of the day who is the leading fanciers at that stage. Ask that person to breed you some youngsters. Don't be an ashtray for people that just want to offset their birds and just give you breeding birds and breeding birds and breeding birds, At the end of the day, you have a lot of them, but you have to feed all those birds, and they're not good enough for them. So get a fancier that you can trust, that you can rely on, and also commit to that one fancier by listening to him. I always say you can listen to what everybody says, but you must do what is good for you at the end of the day. Because every fancier has his own way of doing his things. But you cannot this week do what this fancier is doing, next week do what that fancier is doing, because you're going to get lost, my friend. As easy as that. So the best way to do it at the end of the day is get a fancier, get a few young birds, like 10 or 20 young birds, raise them, see those ones that raise very good, put them into your loft, breed babies out of them, the vitality will be good, and then you will see. Our friend that raised with us in the club, in the other club also in Potch, Marnus Nel, has got a history of that. Breeding, taking pigeons that has raised very well for him, being the best pigeons, taking them to the stock loft, breeding out of them, and also they breed best birds in the club. That is that.